Hello and welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. It's another live edition of the podcast, and we are bringing you some build-up to Arsenal's trip to Anfield this evening. We'll be discussing that. We'll also be looking ahead in terms of some of the transfer business that could be imminent at the moment. Oh, I say imminent, that we're hoping is imminent. We'll be discussing transfers, the game at Liverpool, and we'll be taking your questions and comments from the live chat. Hello and welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. It's another live edition of the podcast. And as I said right at the top of the program, we're going to be looking ahead to Arsenal's trip to Liverpool on our pre-game live segment. We're also going to be bringing you the latest with regards to the transfer news that we are hearing or that is being reported since we last done one of these. So we'll be discussing all of that as well. I'll be sharing with you guys my prediction for tonight's game, and I'll be sharing with you my preferred starting 11 as well. Feel free to get involved in the comments section. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Smash the subscribe button if you haven't already as well. Looking forward to getting more and more of you on board as we approach 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which will be incredible when we get there. Really, really looking forward to that, and going to try and get something special in place for when that happens. So yeah, hopefully it's sooner rather than later. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on the video if you haven't already. Right, let's begin with the transfer stuff, actually. Let's get the transfer stuff out of the way, and then we can focus fully on Arsenal's trip to Anfield tonight. So with regards to the transfers, well, we heard, didn't we, shortly after I finished Friday's show, actually, that we had made a bid. We'd had a bid rejected by Lyon for Houssem Aouar. Very much feels as though at the moment that Aouar is very much the priority for Arsenal. Now, I know a lot of Arsenal fans are still really optimistic about the prospect of signing both Aouar and Partey. I maintain what I've said all along. For me, it's going to be one or the other. And it feels like at this moment in time, Aouar is the most likely. Now, we shared the tweet on Saturday, because we did a little extra show on Saturday that Jean-Michel Aulas put out, where he said that, you know, Arsenal were way off the player's valuation, a deal had not been agreed, etc., etc. But we're also hearing now that Arsenal are preparing that second bid, and that is going to go in imminently. So we do expect to hear something more on that. Whether the second bid will match what Lyon want for the player still remains to be seen. We don't know. We're not sure. We're going to have to hold tight on that. But I've been sort of doing the rounds in terms of listening to sort of reputable journalists, reading good stuff and trying to get up to date with what's going on and what's being reported with regards to this. And Charles Watts, who's always very, very good, Arsenal's goal correspondent, he's been talking about it today. And he made a really, really interesting point, which, you know, I'm not going to take credit for. Of course not. It's Charles's point. But I wanted to share with you guys because I'm sure a lot of you won't have seen that video yet because it only came out earlier today. But he did make a great point about Jean-Michel Aulas and said that he's done this before, the Lyon president. You know, he's been public and said, this is not happening, this is not happening, this is not happening, but the transfer still gets done. It's a problem that Arsenal had with him when we tried to sign Alexander Lacazette, and we eventually got that deal done. So just because Jean-Michel Aulas is speaking about the fact that, you know, Houssem Aouar isn't going to join Arsenal and that they don't expect any major departures, etc., etc., it doesn't mean that the deal's not going to happen. He's got form of doing this before. He did it with Alex Lacazette. He did it with Tanguy and Ndombele, and both of those players ended up coming to the Premier League. He's literally just trying to get as much money as he can out of Arsenal. Understandably so. He's one of Lyon's biggest assets. Why wouldn't you? You're going to try and get the maximum. But he is slightly different to other presidents in that he loves to publicize things. I guess he tries to use the media as a tool in the negotiation room, as something that he can manipulate in order to try and get the result he wants. So yeah, that's the latest on that. We had the first bid that went in. It wasn't accepted by Lyon. They rejected it straight away, as we discussed on Saturday's transfer update show. But Arsenal are said to be preparing another bid, which is going to go in very, very shortly. Of course, we've got until October the 5th before the transfer window closes. That is Monday next week. So it's exactly 1 week at the time of recording between now and the end of the window. So you feel like, this is something that we've got to start making strides in if we're going to get it done in time. But a week is a long time in football. A week is a long time in the transfer window. So I'm still quietly confident that we will at least be able to get one of those major midfield signings in through the door between now and then. So fingers crossed that is the case. Of course, those reports that came out at the back end of last week also stated that Arsenal had agreed personal terms with Houssem Aouar. And just to reiterate what I've been saying, I don't feel like personal terms would have or will be an issue when it comes to Houssem Aouar. We've spoken about the difference in the salary sort of level that we're looking at between the French league and the Premier League. There's a massive gap there. The guy clearly wants to play in a stronger league, as do most players who come through in that division. That's no disrespect to France, but the league is not one of the best in my book. It's nowhere near being one of the best, and you can understand why he would probably want to move on. But Edward agrees with me in the chat. He says that spot on, a week is a long time in the transfer window. It really, really is. So don't panic just yet. I understand why people are getting nervous. I understand why people are slightly worried, but it is a long time in the transfer window. So don't stress about it just yet. There's a long way to go before we have to worry about Arsenal potentially not doing any deal. So yeah, let's just hold tight. Let's be patient on that. Elsewhere, in terms of transfer news, there's been a lot of talk about Shkodran Mustafi's future, with Lazio seemingly entering the fray. Lazio said to be keen on bringing the player to the Stadio Olimpico. That source is Lazio Press. It is a Lazio-based publication, and they are reporting that he could be on the way, and that Arsenal would be open to selling him, as well as Lazio be open to signing him. So that one could happen between now and the end of the transfer window. But Shkodran Mustafi's injured at the moment, and that makes things that little bit more difficult with a transfer. Now, I'm not saying transfers don't ever happen when somebody's injured, because we've seen them happen lots of times. Gareth Bale's gone to Spurs. He's injured. We've seen Arsenal sign players who have been injured, and we've had to wait for them to be fit and ready. But this one, the injury to Mustafi will play a part in this, and it will play a part in whether teams are interested in taking him away. Now, I know that he's not always had the best sort of relationship with the Arsenal fans. He's received a lot of criticism, as have others. But Shkodran Mustafi's stock, I think, in Europe is actually higher than it is in the Premier League, and you could see him move on. I think he is one of the players. He is one of the players that you could see moved on, and one of the players that we could actually command something of a transfer fee from. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Elsewhere, the other bit that we were reporting was regarding Socrates, who was in line to go and join Napoli. It was said that they really wanted him. They were looking at moving Kalidou Koulibaly out, and Socrates would be seen as someone who could come in and fill that gap. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. It doesn't look as though Kalidou Koulibaly is going to be leaving Napoli during this transfer window. Now, if that doesn't happen, does that mean that Napoli are no longer interested in Socrates? We're not entirely sure. We're going to have to wait and see on that. But there are suggestions that with Koulibaly set to stay, the Greek defender would not be on their wanted list. And that comes from Rai Sport in Italy. So we'll have to see what happens with that one. Right, that's enough about transfers. I'm just going to pick up some of you guys' comments on the transfer front, and then we'll move on to look ahead to tonight's game at Anfield, where Liverpool take on Arsenal. Now, just to let you guys know, in association with Total Football Analysis, I'll be joined by two of their top analysts, and we'll be bringing you a live watch along of the game at Anfield tonight. So we'll be taking you through the entire 90 minutes. You'll get expert analysis from Lee Scott and Cameron Megan. So come and join me on this channel for that. It is a Total Football Analysis production, but it will be streamed live on this channel as well. So be sure to come and join us from just before 8 o'clock. We'll be taking you through that game. Instant reaction, live analysis. Really, really looking forward to it. And I've warned the guys at Total Football Analysis already that I can't be impartial when it's Liverpool Arsenal. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. Right, let's go through some of your comments before we move on to focus fully on that game. What else? What have we got here? Hi to Edward, hi to Ashton, hi to Tawana. He says, fresh new cut, Harry, looking fresh, mate. It was long overdue. I've gone from being a guy who would religiously get a haircut every like 8-9 days to like just my hair going like this, my beard going like that. It's what lockdown's done to me. But yeah, thank you very much. A big hello to Suleiman, to the Devon Gunner, to Brett. Brett is sharing his prediction ahead of tonight's game. I'm going to ask you guys to put those in there in just a few minutes' time, and we'll go through some of those a little bit later on. Chris Pantelli says, "Hi Harry, hi, how are you? Sorry, I think like you, we will get Aouar, not Partey. Sadly, as for tonight, I'm not confident at all. Our midfield is nowhere near good enough. That's why. I'll come on to share my thoughts on the game tonight." Ryan says, in response to my comment about League One, bollocks, League One is one of the best. Why do you think we keep buying from France? See Laka, Pepe, Aubameyang via Dortmund, Saint Etienne, Saliba, Gabriel. The reason we keep buying from France is because it's cheaper than buying from the best leagues. It's that simple. It's cheaper. That's why people go and raid that market. Nobody's saying that the French can't produce players or that there isn't talent in that league. But a lot of the players that come from that league don't make it as well. And you got to be honest in your assessment of that. Now, we've as Arsenal fans, we've sat here and we've moaned for years about Arsenal always taking the cheap option, Arsenal not willing to spend the big bucks. Well, the fact that we keep buying from the French league, it backs all of that up. Yes, there have been some good ones that have come in, but there have also been some really shit players to come from the French league as well. And the fact that PSG are so dominant, the fact that Lyon, Marseille are not, able to hold on to their players, tells you that the players want to move away. If it's financially not as powerful, it's because it hasn't got the audience that, say, the Premier League or La Liga have got, and that backs up my point that it's not one of the better leagues in Europe. Let's see what else we've got here. Ryan Brown. He says, I think we might get both. If we sign Partey first, then Lyon will know we have money to spend and demand more. Negotiate a fee with Lyon, then activate Partey release clause if possible. I'd like to say that you're right, and I hope you are, but I just feel like it's wishful thinking at the moment. I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced that we'll be able to get both. Edward goes on to say, I could see Socrates leaving in January. Probably seems more likely now, given that this this proposed move to Napoli seems to be in the balance. Maybe it's not gonna happen this time around, and we're gonna have to be a little bit patient with that. But we certainly need to get some players out the door between now and next Monday, because if we don't, we're not going to have the funds to go and do those deals that we've been talking about. It's very, very clear that Arsenal need to sell in order to bring players in. Maybe not necessarily because we need transfer fees in through the door, but because we need to take players off the wage bill. Now, it'll be interesting to see between now and the end of the window if Arsenal continue to struggle to offload these players. They then take a view and say, you know what, we are struggling to offload these players. We're going to release some funds from somewhere else and take a hit sort of on the basis that we're going to bring in some money or get these players off the wage bill in a few months' time. Maybe Arsenal will do that. Hopefully they do, because it feels as though if we are solely relying on sales, we're going to have a bit of a problem in getting our targets over the line. Right, let's go on to talk about the game tonight, because a lot of you are talking about it in the comments, giving us your predictions, which is great. I'll come to those in a little bit. I'm going to start by sharing with you guys my preferred starting 11 for tonight's game. It's obviously Bernd Leno in goal. We don't have any other option. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be throwing Alex Runar-Runarsson in a game like this. It's going to be a back three. You'd assume this is the big talking point. For me, this is the back three. I'll quickly run through the rest of the team because the rest of the team is pretty clear cut in my mind. It's going to be Maitland-Niles at left wing back. It's going to be Bellerin at right wing back. Xhaka, Ceballos, Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Willian. That would be the rest of my 11. But where the debate is, where the struggle is in that back three. How do Arsenal set up tonight? Now, we know that Kieran Tierney's back, and Kieran Tierney has been pretty sensational every time he's been asked to play in that left central defensive position. I expect that to continue. Gabriel has also been impressive since he's come into the Arsenal side, but David Luiz is back as well. And David Luiz has been so important to this system. He's been so key as the central one of that back three. And when I look at David Luiz, I do worry that maybe that's the only role in that back three that he can play comfortably. Now, I know he's comfortable on the ball, but our right-sided centre-backs are being asked to do a lot more in terms of the way we progress the ball. They're being asked to pull out wide when in possession and help us build up play. The question here is, the big question is, do you think that David Luiz is capable of playing in that right centre-back role tonight? And would you do that? Because Gabriel is left-footed, so I wouldn't want to see Gabriel play on the right side of the defence for that reason. It's very, very clear that, you know, in order to play that role, you're going to have to be comfortable in your right foot in order to spread the play wide, as we've seen Arsenal do so effectively. So do you play Gabriel on that side? For me, probably not. But then do you take Gabriel out of the team? He's been so good. Do you want to take him out of the side? No. But then you don't want to leave Luiz out. You don't want to leave Tierney out. And I don't think that Arteta's going to leave Luiz out. So it becomes so difficult. And we've gone from a situation where we had no left-footed centre-backs to a problem where we've actually probably got too many now. Now, does he take a different approach? Does he say, actually, I'm going to put Kieran Tierney at left wing back? Because I think we can all agree, right, that Kieran Tierney, if fit enough, should be in the team. He's been that good. But do we have a situation where he puts Kieran Tierney at left wing back, sacrifices maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles and says, Gabriel, you're going to play on the left side of the defence, Luiz in the middle and Holding on the right? The issue here is that Maitland-Niles has been so good in this type of fixture when he's played. He's been so effective in dealing with the likes of Mo Salah. And of course, Mo Salah is going to try and cut inside, isn't he, on that left foot? And Ainsley Maitland-Niles being right-footed, I always feel that that really suits him when defending against those types of players. So it's such a difficult one. I think if it was me, and I can only go by if it was me, because I don't have a clue what Mikel Arteta is going to do. If it was me, I'd probably go Luiz, Tierney, Holding. I don't know. It's so difficult because Gabriel's been so good. Do you want to leave Gabriel out? No, I don't really want to do that. But I also don't think that Mikel Arteta is going to change the system. I just can't see him changing the system, given the success we've had against the so-called bigger sides playing that way. So it's a really tough one for me to go with. Does David Luiz come back in the side? Does he not? If he doesn't, then, you know, Gabriel's going to be in the heart of that defense with Tierney to his left and Holding to his right. But has David Luiz got that a big influence in terms of his leadership? Is it? Are we going to see a situation where, you know, Mikel Arteta doesn't want to rock the boat? I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hard to predict. Let me know what you guys would do in the live chat. I can see a few of you saying that the stream is lagging a little bit. Is the audio coming through though? Because that's the main thing. I apologize if there's a bit of a lag. It's the connection. I can't do a great deal about that without ending the stream and going and rebooting my router. So please let me know if the audio is clear. We'll continue as normal. Yeah, so right, my starting 11 to summarize: Bernd Leno in goal. I will go Gabriel, Tierney, Holding, just because they've done all right and I don't want to change the team. Bellerin on the right-hand side, Ainsley Maitland-Niles on the left, Xhaka, Ceballos, and then Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Willian. So that would be my starting 11. Apologies for the lag in the stream, guys. Like I said, I don't know what's causing it. It's the connection just drops in power sometimes, which is a pain in the arse. But being live, I can't really do a great deal about that. So we'll have to just muddle through. Let me know you guys' starting 11s in the live chat. Love to hear those from you guys as well, and get your predictions in as well as we look ahead to this game. Don't forget, we bring you a live watch along a little bit later on. So come and join us just before 8 o'clock for that. In terms of a prediction, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. It's what I've been saying in the lead up to this game. I'm going to stick with that. I'm not going to change it now. There are concerns from Liverpool's perspective that Alisson and Thiago were going to be missing. I think that I've been told anyway that Alisson is available, so Thiago could be a doubt, but Liverpool's midfield is still very capable of causing Arsenal all sorts of problems, getting in our faces, getting in and amongst us. So we'll have to see how that pans out and what starting 11 Jurgen Klopp is left with. Let's take some of your predictions from the live chat and get your questions in the live chat now as well. We'll pick up on some of those before we jump off. Reginald Perry says that I'm making this too hard for myself. Lewis in centre, Gabriel on the right, and make sure Naz is starting. I just worry about Gabriel being asked to play out from the back when he's asked to receive the ball from the goalkeeper with a really difficult, in a really difficult situation where he's not going to be pressed and under pressure. Is he going to be able to do that on his wrong side? I feel like we're kind of setting the guy up to fail. Maybe you're going to see Mikel Arteta do that. I wouldn't be dead against that, but I just feel like he's placed such a big emphasis on having the right-footed players in the right positions that I can't see him just abandoning that. He made such a big point of that when he bought Pablo Mari, and he made such a big point of that when he bought Gabriel in. So I do wonder. We'll have to see. Let's see. Big hello to the Liverpool fan joining us as well. You're welcome to the stream, mate. Love to hear your prediction, although I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say. Right, let's see. Nana asks, do you think someone will get a pen because of a handball tonight? You'd like to think not. This handball rule is a farce, isn't it? It's something that's dominated the chat over the weekend, and we're going to be discussing that in a little bit more detail on this week's edition of the Social Club, so stay tuned for that. We'll be discussing that at length. I wouldn't put it past a penalty being awarded for a handball tonight, but the problem is that, with the rule being, I'm not going to say the rule, the law, whatever you want to call it, with it being adjusted, with the directive being slightly adjusted, I don't really blame the officials. I blame the people that have made that adjustment, because the officials are just going by what they've been told to do. And if one doesn't do it and one does, if someone implements it and someone else doesn't, then you end up with inconsistency. You end up with games not being fair because one team got one treatment and another team got another. So, I think it's very easy to sit and point fingers at the officials who are implementing that law adjustment, but at the end of the day, it's the people that have put that in place that are responsible. And we heard quite a long time ago actually that the Premier League were taking a slightly different approach to handballs than some of the other leagues, and it was going to be problematic, and lo and behold, at the start of this season it's been a huge talking point. So let's see. What else have we got here? We've got lots and lots of starting lineups coming through. A lot of you suggesting that Kieran Tierney should play at left wing back rather than Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Some of you suggesting that Ainsley Maitland-Niles should actually play at right wing back. I don't think he's been that good at right wing back, if I'm honest. I actually think that he's been a lot less effective on that side than he has on the left. And I think that's because when he is playing in that wing-back position, he's asked to join in with the midfield. He's asked to get involved a little bit further forward. And when you start from a really wide position as a wing-back, you've then got that sort of ability to to come in field with the ball on your stronger foot, and you've got plenty of pitch to run into. And I feel like Maitland-Niles has had his best games against inverted wingers, so players like Mo Salah who are left-footed and play on the right. And having the right foot in that situation also helps him. So, yeah, be really, really interested to see. Big hello to Ray, to Sai, to Jimmy, to all of you guys in the live chat. I know that we haven't been bringing you the full preview show in the last couple of days. We normally do a preview show the night before a game, so that it can go out on audio for all our podcast listeners as well. But as you guys will have probably seen on my social media yesterday, I was working. I done 2 full commentaries yesterday. The first one on Newcastle versus Tottenham Hotspur, or Tottenham Hotspur versus Newcastle. Enjoyed the way that game ended, that's for sure. And that was for VSIN in the United States. So official Premier League coverage for them. If you're in North America, join us next Saturday, 5:30 UK, and we'll be bringing you Leeds versus Manchester City. And hopefully we'll be bringing you games weekly, myself and Nigel Seeley. So really looking forward to doing that one. And then, of course, as you may have seen on this channel, we brought you a live watch along in association with Total Football Analysis of Roma versus Juventus, which was also a really good, entertaining watch. So that's why there hasn't been a full preview show for this game. It's why I felt like we needed to do a little bit of a pre-game live today. But tomorrow I'll bring you my reaction to the game in the morning, first thing in the morning, bright and early. So keep your notifications on for that. And then tomorrow night at 9 p.m, I'll be joined again by Adrian Clark, and we'll be getting Adrian's thoughts on not just the Liverpool game, but his thoughts on the transfer window as well, and what he would like to see happen between now and its closure. So lots and lots coming your way on the channel in the next few days. Keep an eye out for the social club as well, where we'll be discussing the handball stuff in detail. And yeah, until later on, take care, enjoy yourselves, stay safe, fingers crossed to get a good result tonight. I'm going to go and take a little bit of a break for a few hours, and I'll be back to bring you a live watch along for Liverpool versus Arsenal, 8 p.m. UK time, coming to you from the studio, obviously not at Anfield, unfortunately. But we'd love to have as many of you guys in the chat during that. Somebody asked if there will be a clock for them to match up the timing on the game, and yeah, there will. It's something we've added in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, come and join us, and we look forward to seeing you a bit later on. Until then, take care.